Hi everyone, I would like to welcome you to this live tonight. And if you are the sole person who want to change your life, you want to change your career, you want to start a new business, but for some reason you never have quite enough money, you are in the right place because tonight you are here for a treat. I'm going to give you some strategies to help you to do that this year because it's important that we move forward. Okay, so I would like also to take this opportunity to say hello to the people who are here with me tonight. So I know there are quite a few. I can't see your names just yet. I would like also to say people who are following on Instagram that I won't be able to see your questions, so I can only see your questions if you are with me on YouTube. So if you'd like to ask questions, please do so. I will be more than happy to interact with you and answer your questions. But let's go. So Alexandra is here, Elena is here, some other people, but I can't say something or interact with us. And it's with a great pleasure that I would say Happy New Year to you all. My name is Maria Gomes. I'm a transformational coach, and today is with a great pleasure that I start do this work in English. I've been doing this work for a while in Portuguese, and tonight I'm starting these lives in English. So I'd like to say hello to Gabriela, Yolanda, Iliane, Mariana, Elena, and Alexandra. So hello Portugal, hello London, hello Switzerland, and everywhere where people are following us. I can't see people who are in Instagram. But today we are going to talk about something very, very interesting. Because some of my clients sometimes tell me, Maria, I want to change my life. I want to start a new business, but for some reason, I never have quite enough money to do that. And the reasons why is because people earn their wages, and by the end of the month, they don't have any money left over. So if you want to start a new business, or if you want to start a new career, you have to have some money saved. And that's one of the strategies that I'm going to give you tonight. But I want to start by asking you first, what is your relationship with money? What are the words that you use when you talk about money? Do you say negative words towards it, like, oh, I hate money, or I always have problem with money, I never have enough money? Because those words is very important that we notice them, because that will tell us how we relate to money. And I know that during our lifetimes we be educated in a way, some of us, I'm not saying that everybody, but some of us, our parents not always have a good relationship with money, and for some reason we learn with them to relate to money in the same manner. But that's what I'm going mainly to talk about today. So notice, what are your words? What are your vocabulary? What do you say? What are your feelings? What are your thoughts? What are your words? And what are your feelings when you talk about money? I know that in this channel I talk a lot about money, and one of the reasons why I do that is because I love money, and when I talk about money, I love it. One teacher of mine used to say, when we have a relationship with money, and we do have a relationship with money, we have to do in a way that is a happy money. So when we relate to money, we always have to be happy. But I know that some people, when people talk about money, they feel uncomfortable. They feel like it's a taboo, especially for women. There is a research made that say that women in particular, they don't really like talk about money. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this work, is to really help you to have a better relationship with money. And some of you may say, but relationship with money, is there such a thing? Yes, there is such a thing. When you have a relationship with your friends, with your family, with your co-workers, and how do you relate to them? If you want to have a good relationship with them, you have to treat them well. You have to say nice things about them. If you start saying, I don't like you, you give me problems, and things like that, your relationship with those people are going to break. It's the same thing with money. I know we don't see money as a person, but money is an energy. And the more we relate negatively towards money, the less we keep. I know there is people who say, Maria, I earn enough money, but at the end of the month, I never have any left. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about today. There was a gentleman who his name is Parkinson, and when I say Parkinson, it's not from the one who discovered the disease. This guy, he discovered that he made this study regarding time, but I also use this regarding money. He used to say that if we have an hour to do something, we would spend the whole hour doing that particular task. But if we have only 10 minutes, we would do that task anyway. And then think about it. Sometimes early in the morning, we wake up early, and then you look at our watch and they say, oh, I have loads of time. And then you take your time, have your coffee, have your breakfast, and then when you realize, you think, oh, I'm already late to work. Whilst if you wake up quite late and then you have to do everything quick, you sometimes end up getting to work even earlier than if you wake up slightly early. So that's to say that sometimes you spend the same amount of time in a task, or rather, if you have given 1 hour to do something, you do it the same thing in 10 minutes. That's the same with money. Like if you, for instance, earn £5,000 a month, sometimes you spend all that money. If you earn only 2,000, you spend also that money. And that's the reason why I decide to talk about this subject today, because I have some clients where they say, well, when I used to earn less, I could live well with that amount of money. Now that I earn the double of the amount, I still spend everything. And that's when we have to pay attention. So if you have money and you spend it all, what is your relation? What is that saying to you when it comes to money? So think about it. When you think about money, do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel like this is a conversation that you want to finish as soon as possible? So I want you to pay attention about what you feel. I want you to really pay attention, because that is very, very important. So your words, your emotions, and your feelings all are very important. Do you say money is the cause of all evil? Do you say, I am saving money for a rainy day? And guess what? We live in England and it rains a lot. So the rain comes and takes all our money away. So is that your words? Is that what you used to say? Because if that is what you believe, that's what's going to happen. Because as I always say here, is wherever your attention, wherever your focus go, your energy goes, it expands. So you have to be very aware of the kind of words that you used to use, or that you use on a normal day. So without further ado, I want to start to say that there are things that are reasons why we don't keep money. One of the reasons is because we feel guilt about money, especially if we feel like we have money and other people don't have it. So we feel guilt towards that. We feel fear towards money. We feel like sometimes we're not going to have enough, so we have to save we have to save money for in case something happen, in case something bad happen. Think of our thought process. Why has to happen something bad? Why do we have to save for something in case something bad happen? Because if that is the case, think that's what's going to happen, because that's what we think about. So whatever we think, attention goes, energy goes, and that's what is going to happen. So if you, for instance, is the beginning of the year and you are thinking about that dream that you've been having for many years, you are in a job that you don't like, you want to change, you want to pursue your dreams, you want to go and do that thing that you love, but you look at your bank account and your bank account does not really agree with you, and you say to yourself, I would love to do that, but I can't because I don't have enough money. That's what I hear very often, people saying. So think about it. You earn, let's for the sake of it, say you earn £3,000 a month. But at the end of the month, you have no money left. And then you say, but Maria, I never have enough money left. How come? So you say, yeah, but I buy one thing, I buy the other, I have to pay my bills, and at the end of the day, at the end of the year, I don't have, no money saved. At the end of the month, always my account is zero. So you have two choices. One is to save, another one is to find a new income. I know some people, when I talk about this, people feel very uncomfortable. But this is reality. So if you think that you have to wait until the end of the month to save money, it's never going to happen, especially if you are not used to it. So if you are serious about saving money, you have to pay yourself first. So at the beginning of the month, when you get paid, you have to take that money out and put it in a savings account, on an emergency fund, whatever you like to call it. First thing you do, you take that money out and you put it in that account. But you say, but Maria, all my money goes to pay bills, to do this and to do that. Okay, so if that is the case, you have to look and see what are your essential bills. What are your essential bills? Things that you cannot live without. So you have to live somewhere. So if you may have to pay rent, or you have to pay mortgage, you have to pay electricity bills, phone bills, water, and everything else. Transport, whatever is your essential bills. So for that and for everything that you need, in reality, you should only spend 70% of your wages for those matters. So I'll repeat, for your bills, for your essentials, and for other things that you need to buy, you should be able to live only with 70% of your wages. And the other 30%, you should be saving them for this emergency fund or for this savings account, where you will have a pot where you can save that money. And why do you need to save that money? Sometimes here I talk about investment, but if the case is that you want to change your career, to start a new business, sometimes in order for you to do that, you have to have some money. For instance, you are in a job that you hate, you don't like, and then you feel fed up, you always dream of doing something else, and now you feel is the time, but you cannot do it because you don't have money. So because every month you spend all your money, you never have any money left to change your career. So that's the reason why, if that is your dream, you have to start saving money from now. So what do you do? So this is a strategy. So this is one of strategies that I am going to give to you today. So write it down, because this is important that you remember. So if you earn, let's say, £3,000 a month, you have to make sure that you live, that the money you have to live to pay your bills is 70% of that money. The other 30%, you put it away in a savings account. Why? That is if you are an employee, if you're working for someone and that person or that company pays you every month. If you are self-employed or if you are a business owner, you have to have another much more than that. So if you are an employee, you have to get 6 times of the money that you spend on a monthly basis. So if every month you spend £2,000 on your bills, you have to have at least £12,000 before you quit your job and start a new one. So I'll repeat so it's clear. If you are self-employed, if you are someone who are looking for starting a new business, or you're changing your business, then it changes. You need to have 12 times that. So if you are employee, you need 6 times £2,000, which makes 12. If you are self-employed or you are a business owner, you need 24. Why do you need this saving pot? Because when we change our career or when we start a new business, sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes you have to do some courses, you have to go for further education, or you might not find a job straight away. So if you have that money, that gives you some safety net where you can do that without putting a lot of stress in your life. So that's one of the things you have to learn and you have to do. Otherwise, on the second month, you don't have any money coming, you get very stressed, and then you're going to get any job that crosses your way because you have to pay your bills, you have to live. So that's one of the strategies. Other strategy that I've been saying here in this channel quite a few times is when you want to start a new business, but you don't have that money saved yet. This is a plan that we are planning out. Then what you have to do, you have to start by finding the job, finding a place in a job in somewhere in that area that you want to pursue your dream. Like for instance, there is a lot of people who I know and they love to cook, and people think because they love to cook they can open a restaurant, and that is not quite so. Because if you love to cook for your friends, for your family, is a hobby, is lovely. But when you have to cook and the stress is something completely different. And so if someone comes to me and says, Maria, I love to cook and I want to open a restaurant, I always say, no, before that, go and find yourself a job in a kitchen in a restaurant and see if you really love it before you stop what you're doing and start a business without knowing anything about it. So this is another way of you starting something new, learning little by little, because otherwise you put a lot of stress in your life that you don't need to. When I talk about money, I always say that when our relationship with money has to be a healthy one. Why is that? Because when we have this feeling, this negative energy towards money, especially when we have to pay bills. Sometimes people say, oh, I hate paying bills. But although I'm aware that electricity has gone up a great deal, imagine in your life without electricity. It'd be a nightmare. Today we cannot even conceive living our lives without electricity. We feel lost. I mean, imagine. So when we have to pay a bill, like electricity bill, we should be very happy for that service, because we ourselves, we don't like to work without being paid. So we get these services. Every time we think that we are going to pay a bill, we have to pay that bill with happiness. No moaning, no always complaining that we don't have enough. The other idea that I would like to bring is that the universe is abundant. Abundance is a law. Normally, everything in nature is abundant. Everything. Look at the fruits. Look at the trees. Look at the seeds, they are abundant. It's only us with our limitations that we think of a scarcity, that we're not going to have enough. We don't have enough. And every time we feel and think that way, we are starting limiting ourselves. So now I'm taking a little break to see if people have any questions in here. Okay, love freedom, amazing. Love freedom, amazing. Gabi, okay. Claudia, money is pleasure but can be a problem. So, okay, Claudia, let's see. Why do you think that money is a problem? I would like to ask you. Okay, because if you think, because remember I was saying about the words we use to describe money. If we think money is a problem, money will be a problem, because that's what we believe money is. And money not necessarily has to be a problem. It's only a problem because we see it as a problem. Money is a solution for many things, not a problem. It's a solution when we are sick and we have enough money to pay the doctors, to be seen. It's a solution to pay our bills. It's a solution to pay our holiday. It's a solution for many very positive things. So sometimes it's not what it is, it's how we look at it. And that's why we have to think about how we feel, how we think about money and what our words are. So Claudia, think again when you think to yourself that money is a problem, because I don't agree with you. I think money is not a problem, it's a solution. Okay, so let's see. Marianne, I have no problem talking about money, but sometimes I'm afraid to spend it. Very good, Marianne. I love that. Yes. Just 1 second. Lolita says, I have negative thoughts, feelings related to money. How can I change that pattern? Very good. Okay, let's see. If money was short in my childhood, could that influence the way I look at money? Yes, Lolita, big time. Because that's what we learned. We learned with our parents, and because that's what they learned from their parents. And we have to change that. We cannot carry on blaming our parents for our relationship with money. So if that was our childhood, if we felt guilty, as I said, if you felt afraid, if you have all these feelings, we have to think and we have to see if that they are actually real or if they is just the way we perceive things. Because that is very important that we realize that. So going back to Mariana's point, when she says, let's see a question again, I have problems talking about money, but sometimes I'm afraid of spending. That is the other thing I already talked about in this channel the other day. There is the law of earning and the law of spending. We should learn to earn a lot of money, but we also should be very happy to spend, because as you spend, but spend what you can, not what you don't have, because that is the problem with a lot of people. People spend more than they earn, and that becomes a problem. That's why people at the end of the month, they don't have any money left. I know people that at the end of the month, they don't have even enough money to pay food. So they have to live out of whatever is left in the fridge or in the cupboard. And that is not a prosperous life or way of living. We have to live in abundance because the universe is abundant, and so should we. So Mariana, don't be afraid of spending. Spend in the things that you need to spend. And when you spend happily because you deserve it. Otherwise, you're always going to feel like there is a scarcity. Even the word scarcity, look how it sounds. Is a city that is scared, don't have enough. Of course, our parents, our great parents, they come from great recessions, they came from the wars, and people were scared of spending money. And when, in certain circumstances, we have to be very careful with what we spend. But if we are like that all the time, we don't have a good relationship with money. We don't have a happy relationship with money. Remember what I said before, happy money. So when you have a plan, like the one I proposed today, about this 30% savings for something, for a goal, for having that money for investing or for changing something in your life, that is a plan that you have. That money you don't spend. That money saved. Forget about it. I like to talk about people learning how to deal with money, because we have to learn to invest. Our money have to earn more money for ourselves. Yeah? We have to put the money working for us. Okay, but that is another problem. One of the problems that our humanity have is ignorance. We don't know how to deal with our finances, because our parents never taught us that. Our school system don't teach us that. And therefore, we have to learn with our mistakes. And sometimes we make such a big mistake that is very hard to fix. So we have to learn to educate ourselves to have a very good financial education. That is the first thing. When we don't know how to deal with our finances, we get a coach to help us to do that, because that is money well spent. Because we think by paying a coach or by paying a professional in that area that we are spending money. No, in that case we are investing money. We are investing in ourselves. Because if you don't know how to do something, we have to learn, isn't it? That's why we're going to school. But unfortunately, in our society, we are not educated to learn to deal with money. We have this problem that when people talk about money, everybody's scared. Everybody thinks it's a problem, like Claudia was just saying. So because of that, we avoid talking about this subject. And that's why I over and over I bring this subject to this channel, because I feel it's my duty as a coach to educate you all that is important that we learn how to deal with this matter. Because this relationship is very important in our life, because we deal with money for everything. We might not have the money in our hands because everything now is done in the internet, is direct debit and all that, but still, if the money doesn't exist in the bank, if we don't have it, we cannot transfer to anybody. You cannot pay, you cannot spend, you cannot do anything. So that is essential that we get this education. Important that we know how to deal with money and to do what to do with it. So if you're thinking of changing your career or starting a new business and you don't have enough money, start saving now. Or then, if you don't want to save, then you have to get another means, get another job, get something that will provide you more money. But what happens is what I said about the law of this guy that I just explained. Sometimes we starting earning more money, but the more money we earn, the more money we spend. Because why? We don't know how to deal with it. So that's why we have to have someone to help us in case we don't know. So think of this. In order for you to save, you have to have a goal. Because there is, if you don't have a goal, you know, two days or two months down the line, say, what am I saving this money for? So when you start saving, you have to have one goal. So about that, I will be talking next week. I will see again if someone of Val is here today. Oi, Val is in Brazil. Hello, my darling. Do we believe money can make people prisoners? Sometimes they do, but that Val, I'm glad that you brought that thing, because sometimes people think that having money means that you are wealthy. No, having money doesn't really mean that you're wealthy, because there is a lot of people who have money, but there is a saying that it says, "Is so poor that only has money." For you to be wealthy, you have to deal with money in a very healthy way. You don't have to be prisoner. You don't have to. That is a bad sign. That is not a good relationship with money. A good relationship with money is when you earn money, when you spend money, and you have enough. You have plenty. You have money for everything that you want. You invest. You are prosperous. That is a good relationship with money. But be wealth is like your relationships, your health. You know, wealth is another matter. Sometimes when people have that kind of relationship, is not good neither. Okay, Val. Okay, Lolita. So let's say I'm stuck because my childhood experiences. What can I do to keep changing my dreams? In any strategies? The one I have already gave you. I know you might have written this question before I explain, Lolita. But yes, there is a lot of strategies that we can do. I gave you one today. Of course, there is loads of others. You are more than welcome to ask me, to get in contact with me and help you to overcome this problem and to create a plan. Maybe next week I might be talking a bit more about that. Let's see. But guys, please do your best for this year being the year that's going to change your relationship with money. I can promise you this might change your life forever. Let's see what Mariana says. I think everyone is scared of talking about money because people always say negative things about it. Exactly, my love. That is the reason. Because people don't feel happy when they talk because of their relationships with money. That is one of the reasons. Yeah. So let's see. One thing I was going to ask you, please subscribe. It's free. So please subscribe. I bring you these ideas, these concepts, and you can help me a great deal if you subscribe. Okay, so let's say goodbye. Oh, Daniela, money is a neutral energy. We are the ones who give its weight. I love money, it's freedom, and I am so grateful. That's great. I used to say that, but I know a little bit more, and I know that money also has energy. So I will be talking a bit more maybe in the future. But yes, you're right. It's good that you love money, and money help us to have a much more fulfilled life. Okay, thank you so much for being here with us, and I will say I will be here again next week on Tuesday. I would like to say goodbye also people who are following me on Instagram, and for all of you that being here today, Val, Mariana, Daniela, Lolita, Alexandra, and Cláudia, Aldinha, Cristina de Dubai, até Dubai está conosco. We are here with us. Francine, Gabi, Yolanda, Iliane, Helena, lots of you. I can't see all the names, but thanks once again for being here with us. It was wonderful, and thanks for your support. And please share this live with people you know. It might help them. Okay? Big kiss for all of you, and I'll see you next week. All my love and Happy New Year.